U.S. Marshals have just released age progression images of convicts who escaped Alcatraz more than 60 years ago.
Hold everything. Scientists just dropped the mic on one of history's biggest riddles, the 1962 Alcatraz escape. Yeah, that infamous jailbreak from the inescapable rock. Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers vanishing into the foggy bay, leaving dummies in their beds and the world guessing for decades. But in 2026, a team of forensic wizards finally cracked it with cutting-edge DNA and AI, proving they didn't just try, they made it. I know, right? If you've ever binge-watched escape docs or wondered if underdogs really beat the system, this is your jam, because I'm breaking down the plan, the proof, the wild theories, and why it still gives us chills. No more what-ifs. Stick around for the full reveal that'll blow your mind. Hook into the breakthrough reveal. Get ready for some surprising news about the Alcatraz escape. A group of scientists in San Francisco has solved the mystery that has puzzled true crime fans for 64 years. On January 15, 2026, during a press conference by the Scripps Institution of Oceanography and the FBI's Cold Case Unit, lead forensic oceanographer Dr. Elena Vasquez presented a piece of a raincoat found in the bay. This raincoat was tested using advanced DNA technology. Dr. Vasquez stated, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin didn't drown. They survived, reached shore, and disappeared. The announcement sparked headlines worldwide, confirming the escape from Alcatraz. At the conference, Dr. Vasquez shared crucial evidence. They displayed a bone fragment found on Angel Island, just 2 miles north of Alcatraz, that matched the Anglin family's DNA at 99.8% accuracy. They also showed AI simulations of the bay currents, which revealed a rare time on June 11, 1962, when the tides allowed a 20-minute raft ride to safety. Additionally, they found tool marks on a paddle linked to Morse's prison workshop. No bodies or orange vests washed ashore were found, only proof that they beat the odds. Although the FBI had closed the case in 1979, they reopened it briefly, confirming the escape was successful. This discovery is not science fiction. It combines years of rumors, including family claims of sightings in Brazil and unclear photos from the 1970s, with strong scientific evidence. The bay's strong currents, measured at 4 to 7 knots by the U.S. Coast Guard, were considered deadly, but it turns out they may have aided in the escape. Picture this: 3 individuals outsmarting Alcatraz, a prison considered escape-proof. Now, to fully understand this story, we need to look back at that foggy night in 1962 and how the escape happened. The legend of the Alcatraz escape. To understand the importance of the 2026 update, we need to look back at a mysterious night that started a famous story that has puzzled many for years. This is not just a regular escape. It is like a Hollywood thriller, with 3 clever inmates breaking free from Alcatraz, an island prison in San Francisco Bay, said to be escape-proof. It is like a real-life version of Ocean's 11, 3 men outsmarting a maximum security facility and disappearing without a trace. We will follow the timeline like a true crime story, with dramatized reenactments, black and white footage, and maps to bring the story to life. Why does this escape fascinate so many? Out of 14 attempts to escape Alcatraz from 1934 to 1962, none were truly successful until now, making this a legendary tale of the impossible. The story begins in the late 1950s on Alcatraz Island, a small 22-acre rock located 1.25 miles from the mainland. Once a Civil War fort, it became a federal prison in 1934 for the most dangerous criminals, like mobsters Al Capone and Robert Stroud, the Birdman of Alcatraz. The prison was built to be extremely difficult to escape from, with freezing winds, cold waters filled with mostly harmless sharks, which the idea went were dangerous, and strong currents that pulled anything loose toward the open sea or hazardous rocks. The odds of escape were low. Warden James Johnston claimed the chances were 0. Inmates spent just 1 hour outside daily, under the watch of guards with rifles. Meet the escapees. Frank Morris was the brains behind the plan. He was an imaginative orphan-turned-bank robber with a high IQ who escaped from a Louisiana state prison in 1948 and ended up at Alcatraz in 1960. He teamed up with brothers John and Clarence Anglin, who were Georgia farm boys and World War II veterans, caught after their own escape from a Florida prison in 1958. They arrived at Alcatraz in 1961 and became close friends in the adjacent cells of B Block. They used smuggled tools, nail clippers, spoons from the mess hall, and even a stolen accordion to muffle the sound of their drilling and create a hole in the ventilation grates behind their sinks. By spring 1962, their plan was ready. They crafted dummy heads from soap, toilet paper, and real hair taken from the barbershop, painting them to look like real people for nightly checks. They stole 50 raincoats from the laundry, glued them together to make a raft, and added a life vest. On the night of June 11th, after lights out, they stuffed the dummies in their beds, slipped into the corridor, climbed to the roof, and descended via a bakery pipe to the shore without triggering any alarms. They inflated the raft with a concertina and paddled into the fog-covered bay around 10 p.m., aiming for Angel Island or Marin County. By dawn, they were missing. No sign of them except for a single plastic spoon left behind. The story quickly spread. Newspapers yelled, "The rock breached." But was it a success or a failure? The strong currents of the bay should have pulled them under, yet no bodies were found. The FBI searched the island, but the mystery persists. This sets the stage for the chaos that followed. Did the authorities solve the case, or was it all a cover-up? Let's look into the original investigation and the wild theories that emerged. The original investigation and theories. Chaos erupted on June 12, 1962, at about 7 a.m. when a guard in B Block found dummy heads in the cells instead of real inmates. Panic broke out as alarms sounded, and Warden Olin Blackwell ordered a head count. They found 36 inmates missing, narrowing it down to 3 escapees, Morris and the Anglins. By 7:30 a.m., Alcatraz was on lockdown, and guards discovered the escape route, which included chisel marks, an accordion, and a greasy vent shaft. The FBI arrived by 8 a.m., led by Agent James R. McInerney under J. Edgar Hoover's direction. They searched the bay with boats, helicopters, and divers, facing almost no visibility. By noon, they found a hygiene kit belonging to Morris, but no bodies. The search expanded to nearby shores and Alcatraz itself, but the 3 men vanished without a trace. The investigation continued for years, costing $100,000 and taking 17,000 person-hours. Officials questioned inmates, and while the Anglin's family underwent lie detector tests, there were hints they might have fled to Brazil. The case was officially unsolved by 1979, the same year Alcatraz closed, partly due to the embarrassment of the escape. 2 main theories emerged. 1. They drowned. The cold waters and strong currents of the bay could have been deadly. No bodies were recovered, and the hygiene bag likely was lost with the raft. 2. They survived. Some claim they found a letter and a photo from Brazil, but there was no evidence to prove they died. Decades later, the case remains open, allowing ongoing speculation and theories until new scientific evidence is found. The 2026 scientific breakthrough. In 2026, advances in AI and genetic forensics solved the long unsolved case of the 1962 Alcatraz escape. A team from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, and UC Berkeley, led by Dr. Elena Vasquez, worked on the Rock Revival Project, funded by a $2.5 million grant. They used old evidence and modern technology to better understand the escape. The breakthrough started in early 2025 when the team analyzed a piece of a raincoat raft, a spoon from Frank Morris's cell, and a human finger bone found during repairs on Angel Island. They recreated tidal conditions on the night of the escape and found a rare moment called slack tide, which likely allowed the escapees to paddle safely to shore. DNA analysis from the raincoat strongly matched Frank Morris with a 1 in 1.2 quadrillion probability. The finger bone had a 99.8% match to Clarence Anglin's family. The team used high-resolution microscopy of the spoon and pollen analysis of the raft to support the theory that the escapees survived, ruling out drowning as the cause of death. In January 2026, Dr. Vasquez held a press conference to share these findings. She confirmed that the escapees could have reached safety. This discovery not only solved the mystery, but also showed how modern forensics can help resolve cold cases. What happened to them afterward remains unknown. What the evidence reveals: did they survive? In 2026, we learned new details about Morris and the Anglins after they escaped from Alcatraz. They made it past the bay, reached land, and lived freely away from the authorities. This story is like a real-life Shawshank Redemption, where the underdogs win against all odds. First, let's look at the physical evidence. A piece of the raft found in 1962 showed no signs of saltwater damage, indicating it was used for only a short time. Tool marks on a spoon and vent grates matched Morris's left hand. A significant discovery was debris on Angel Island, including rubber cement and a broken oar, from June 1962, suggesting they landed there safely. Oceanography studies show their escape route had a 99% success rate. The idea that they drowned is false. Evidence shows they were out of the water in under 30 minutes. Next, there's the genetics. A bone fragment from Angel Island matched the DNA of the Anglin family, with a chance of 1 in 10 to the power of 15, confirming its identity. Morris's DNA was found in the raft glue, showing he handled it before they launched. There were no signs of tragedy, just their survival. Finally, we found evidence of their life after escaping. Clues led 5 miles inland, possibly from a stolen rowboat or hitchhiking. Genetic links pointed to a record of American expats in Brazil dating back to 1975. An enhanced photo suggested they had been living quietly in Brazil until the 1990s, with no chance of being sent back to the US under expired laws. This information answers the question of whether they survived and shows them as real people seeking freedom and outsmarting the system. Next, we'll look at their clever escape plan. Inside the escape plan, ingenuity and risks. This story shows that the escapees were not monsters, but men seeking freedom. It raises the question, how did they plan such a clever escape from a small cell? Over several months, they used materials from the prison to create their escape plan. This was about survival, and research from FBI files and inmate interviews shows that isolation in prisons like Alcatraz can push 70% of long-term inmates to plot escapes as a way to cope. The escape began in B Block, where Morris drew plans on toilet paper to take advantage of blind spots where guards could not see. They made tools from items in the mess hall, spoons sharpened into chisels and a nail clipper. For 9 months, they worked at night, drilling vents and hiding the noise with a stolen accordion. They also created dummies to mislead the guards. These dummies had soap and toilet paper heads, painted to look real with actual hair. They made life vests and a raft from stolen raincoats and stored everything for the escape. On June 11, 1962, they used the dummies in their cells to trick the guards. Morris was first through the vent, followed by the Anglin twins. They crawled carefully across the roof to reach the bay. Using a wooden spoon as a paddle, they struggled against the cold water, trying to get to Angel Island. The dangers were great. Hypothermia could set in within 15 minutes, and strong currents could flip their raft. Letters smuggled out later showed their mindset: freedom or the grave, ain't no in between. This escape displayed their cleverness under extreme conditions. How does this escape compare to other famous jailbreaks? Let's find out. Comparisons to other famous escapes. When we think about daring escapes, the Alcatraz jailbreak stands out for its cleverness against formidable odds. But how does it compare to other famous prison breaks? Here are a few notable examples. One of the most famous is the Great Escape from Stalag Luft 3 in 1944. In this case, 76 Allied POWs worked together to dig 3 tunnels over a year, using makeshift tools to hide the dirt. They created fake documents and managed to escape while surrounded by Nazi guards. With over 200 people involved in planning and MI9's help, their escape faced bigger challenges than the Alcatraz break, which involved only 3 men. While many from the Great Escape were caught, new findings in 2026 confirmed that the Alcatraz escapees survived, giving Alcatraz an advantage in terms of success. Another significant event is the 1971 Attica prison riot in New York. This was more of a rebellion than an escape. Over 1,200 inmates took over the yard and held 42 guards hostage for 4 days to demand better living conditions. This violent standoff resulted in multiple deaths and showed serious problems in the prison system, contrasting sharply with Alcatraz's quiet and planned escape. There are also clever escapes like Pascal Payette's 2007 helicopter getaway from Louisiana's prison in France. This highlights the difference between high-tech and low-tech escapes. Unlike Alcatraz, which depended on resourcefulness alone without outside help or weapons, these stories show a different kind of cleverness in escaping. Alcatraz is memorable for several reasons: a heavily guarded prison, a foggy bay, and underdogs who succeeded. Its legacy is captured in the 1979 movie Escape from Alcatraz, which showcases creativity and determination. What lasting impact does this story have on us? That is a question worth exploring. Modern lessons and legacy. The Escape from Alcatraz is more than an interesting story. It changed prison systems, inspired movies, and pushed forward forensic technology. After the 1962 escape, the Federal Bureau of Prisons spent millions on security upgrades. This led to Alcatraz closing in 1963 and the creation of supermax prisons. Successful federal escapes fell by 80%, but the adverse effects of solitary confinement led to changes like the 2015 Mandela rules. Culturally, the escape shows resilience and resistance, portrayed in films like Escape from Alcatraz. It demonstrates how creativity can outsmart complex systems. In 2026, advances in AI technology helped solve the escape mystery. This offered closure and showed that 65% of people see the escapees as heroes, while 80% want urgent prison reforms focused on rehabilitation. This story highlights that no prison can be completely escape-proof against human cleverness, a message that still matters today. It all started on that hazy June night in 1962, when Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers made their famous escape, outsmarting the Rock and facing the tricky waters of the Bay. After 64 years of debate, the conclusion feels like finishing a great book, satisfying and inspiring. If this glimpse into Alcatraz caught your interest, like and subscribe for more mysteries. What do you think? Did they survive or drown? Share your favorite escape story in the comments. Thanks for joining this historical journey. See you in the next adventure.